Today we're going to look at the third and fourth hindrance to meditation. We're going to look at mental sleepiness or sluggishness and mental restlessness. For anyone who meditates, these are common visitors. And in our everyday life, they're common visitors too, aren't they? Yeah. So when we're doing our meditation practice, when they come up, they have the ability to remove the meditation object. When mental sluggishness or sleepiness comes in, our mind starts to become very dull. If we were doing mindfulness of breathing, being aware of the breath as it comes in and out, if mental sluggishness comes up, it becomes very, very hard to follow the breath. It's like following the length of each breath is just a lot of effort. And it's just like you start to mentally sink down deeper and deeper, become spacey, floaty, and we literally lose our object of meditation. So when this happens, we have a problem, because to intensify our awareness as we do in meditation, we need to have an object of meditation clear and present to us all the time. This is part of this training, isn't it? We're training our brains here. We're training the aspect of attention. Yeah. But if you haven't got an object, how can you train that? How do you train it? So it takes away your meditation object. And then we've got mental restlessness. If we're watching each breath that comes in and out and we're starting to get restless, no matter how hard we try, we can't quite place our attention on it. So you have this feeling you're trying to watch the breath or whatever your meditation object is, and you keep kind of slipping off it. It's like you can't quite stick to it. Has anyone had that experience? Yeah? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So again, no object of meditation, concentration can't build. We have a problem. The usual way that the hindrances to meditation are overcome, that's the desire. The first one's desire to experience things. That's sensual desire. Yeah. Aversion, mental aversion, the desire to not want to experience things. So one is, I want. And the other one is, I don't want. These two movements of mind. They come up in everyday life. I like, I don't like. Yeah? But they come up in our meditation as well, of course. Yeah? Out of them arises mental sluggishness and mental restlessness. And the last one is doubt. Doubt in your own ability, doubt in the practice that you're doing, doubt in the teacher, doubt in the location, temperature, seat's too hard, floor's too hard, whatever. We come up with every reason possible why we shouldn't meditate. Yeah. And these definitely come up, don't they? But we're going to look at those two hindrances that come up, the two that remove the meditation object. Now, you can get past it through sheer will of concentration. That means we use a mantra, we fix our attention on the breathing, yeah, or sweep our body, or we're doing something where we're holding our attention on one point, just doing one thing. And we hold our attention so continuously there that our mind starts to concentrate on that one thing. When it concentrates enough, it literally suppresses these hindrances. It suppresses them. It holds them back. Yeah? The Buddha likened it to having a clear mountain pool, right? And within that pool, you might have lots of reeds, you might have dye in the water, turbulence on the water from the wind and so on. And they're all likened to the different mental hindrances. Concentration is like getting a big porous earthenware pot and sticking it on the surface of the water. Now what happens is, as the pot's sitting on the water, it starts to absorb the water into it until the water starts going into the pot. So the pot is basically filtering the water. It's filtering out the dyes, it's not allowing the reeds or the wind in, the agitation in. As it fills with water, the pot slowly sinks deeper and deeper. Now within the pot, the water is clear, it's still, it's unmoving. But just on the outside of the pot, you've got the reeds, you've got the dye, you've got the wind, you've got all this agitation and restlessness and inability to see. But you look into the pot and it's perfectly clear. Concentration is like this, it sinks in and it suppresses. So when concentration is building up in your practice, you'll have the feeling of sinking into the meditation object. You'll start to sink. You don't do it, the mind sinks in. This is the feeling. But of course, when you remove that pot, everything is still there. So that's why after we build up our concentration, we switch over to mindfulness so we can start to understand. Otherwise, we're not learning anything, we're just still. But it's not going to affect our everyday life too much. And you will see this a lot. You'll see people with very strong samadhi, very strong concentration and that. And they might be teachers and they might have big scandals. Because the concentration has not overcome those hindrances, even though they've got very deep concentration. They're very peaceful when they've been concentrating and when they come out of it, but they've still got everything still there. All the desire and the anger, it's still sitting there. Because it doesn't remove it, it just suppresses it. The other way of doing it is to use the hindrances themselves as an object of meditation. And that's what this method is. So the first method is like going down the surf and then swimming out to the back, sitting on your board and just floating at the back. You've gone through all the white water and the waves and you're just floating at the back. The white water and the waves is like the hindrances to meditation. In this method, the Mahasi method, what we do is we actually stay in the white water and the waves and learn to surf in that. Surf in the turbulence. So let's first look at one of the things that cause turbulence in our life and our meditation practice. Mental sluggishness. It can be experienced in 3 ways in our meditation practice and also in everyday life. Well, 2 ways in everyday life, but 3 ways in the meditation practice. The first way is just a straight tiredness. You come in, you've had a busy life, haven't you? Busy work out there, going hard all day, thinking, doing lots of stuff. And so then you come and you sit down to do your meditation and you're just plain tired, you're sleepy, just, oh my God, I just want to sleep. When you're like that, you'll find you just can't concentrate. You get very light and floaty. Anyone's had that? And then you start having conversations to yourself, maybe I'll just do it tomorrow morning. I should just really go off to bed. But what that is, that's the 5th hindrance of doubt coming up. It's trying to stop you from meditating. Don't listen to it. I've sat with the sleepiness and there's just like tears going down my face and all this, and you just sit there with it. What you do with sleepiness is, if you're breathing is your object of meditation, you're getting really sleepy, what you do is you turn your attention square on the feeling of sleepiness itself. What does sleepiness feel like? Where do you feel it? Is it just in one place? Is it all over? Where do you feel it? Is it a pleasant feeling? Is it an unpleasant feeling? Start investigating it. Go from the breathing and use the sleepiness as an object of meditation. It's a great object of meditation because it's very, very easy to see, because it's just overwhelming. It's everywhere. So when you turn your mindfulness on that and start investigating it, at first it will feel like it's overwhelming. You turn your mind and you use a mental label to help stimulate the energy investigation. You just say, sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. If it feels really pleasant, you say, pleasant, pleasant. If you feel like you're falling asleep, falling asleep, falling asleep. Just keep recognizing it with mental labels. When the mindfulness grows on the sleepiness, suddenly the sleepiness will just go, gone. It'll be completely gone, and you'll be totally clear awake. Clear awake, is that a word? Totally wide awake. If you don't turn the mindfulness on the sleepiness, you will mentally identify with it. I am sleepy. As soon as you do that, that's it, you're gone. But when you take it as an object, you don't get the feeling I am sleepy. There's sleepiness and the knowing of it, and that's separate. You don't get affected by it. That's how you deal with that. Yeah? You polish your mind on it. You polish your mindfulness on it. The second way that we experience sleepiness or mental sluggishness in meditation is because of mental aversion. And this one here also comes up in our everyday life when we go to sleep at night. And that is, I don't want to see anything else. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to think anything else. And then you got your partner beside and they're getting a bit frisky. And it's like, no, don't touch me. I just want to go to sleep. I don't even want physical pleasure. I don't want to experience anything else. I just want to go to sleep. Yeah? We get that? Yeah, when you're really tired? No, you don't. Okay. Well, we'll keep that for another subject on another day. Everyone remember. Yeah. But this is when you don't want to experience anything else. Often the reason why we sleep at night is because we're tired of experiencing. We've been experiencing all day, and we get to the stage where our mind starts to shut down. Don't want to think anymore, don't want to listen to anything, don't want to do anything else, I just want to go to sleep. That's actually driven by aversion. Our mind is mentally running away from the world. We don't want to experience it. And you'll find if people don't get that sleep, they'll go crazy. Because we need that escape. And generally for most people, this is the only escape we get. You get people in very deep practice and they literally don't sleep. They'll actually just sit and meditate at night. They don't fall asleep at all because they don't need to, because their mind's not running away from the world. Yeah. With this mental aversion, it will more come into a mental sluggishness. You're sitting there, you're watching the breath as it comes in and out, and it won't be that lightheaded feeling. It'll be more the feeling you're just starting to dull out. You're becoming really dull. It's like your meditation object, instead of becoming clearer as the awareness gets stronger, the awareness just starts becoming less and less and less. Has anyone experienced that? You're meditating and it's like everything's not really that clear. It becomes less and less clear. And it can actually have quite a pleasant feeling to it, can't it? And some people actually get stuck in this and identify this as progress in meditation. But it's a trap. It's a trap where you end up going into mental dullness and you don't experience anything. Yeah? You don't experience anything. This is a very heavy feeling. It's almost like a very heavy feeling. When that happens, again, place your awareness or take it away from the breathing or your object of meditation. Place your attention on that mental sluggishness, the dullness, and start investigating it. What does it feel like? Where do you feel it? Yeah? Put a lot of effort into this one. A lot of effort. And the sheer fact of investigating it will create enough energy and it'll start to polish up. The opposite to this one is investigation. If you put the effort into investigating it, this will again just go, whew. It will just lift and dissolve. The last way the mental sluggishness appears or sleepiness appears in our practice is what's called sinking mind. Sinking mind only comes during meditation practice or when I'm driving a car long distances. I can't help it. I look, and if there's a car in front of me, my attention anchors on it. Or the road, it's just, where most people are like this when they're driving, and it's dangerous. I've got to watch it. What happens with this is when you concentrate on one thing really deeply, your mind starts to concentrate. If the energy levels are out of balance, your mind will sink, will do what's called sinking. We've got to have the balance of energy with the concentration, otherwise you go into this really deep concentrated state of nothing. Yeah? This again gets mistaken for a level of meditation practice, and people spend their whole life sitting in it. But they're sitting in nothing, and it will lead to nothing. Remember, meditation practice develops, our awareness actually becomes stronger and more detailed, not less and less. So this is lack of energy. And you often see people in intensive retreats doing like this. And I've spent days just doing that during a retreat. And you'll see people doing that. And you can literally hit the floor. Right? Your body just, boom, just keeps collapsing. It's the most terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling when you do it. Sinking mind is just tough. Again, you make it your object of meditation and just feel the unpleasantness of it. Right? And just bear with it. Again, the effort of placing your attention on it and feeling it and just being with it will actually create the energy that will dissolve it. It's a lack of energy. Too much concentration, not enough energy. If you increase the investigation, it'll bring it into balance. But all three of them are experienced differently in our practice. So probably the most likely that most of you would experience would be the first two, the mental sleepiness or just the dullness. Again, you just use labels. In this one, it's like heavy. It's a real heavy feeling. Heavy, tight, sinking. Just use mental labels to describe it, and that will increase the energy and the investigation, and that's what will make it pass. This one here, you just got to ride through it. Anyone who does intensive meditation goes through this. Yeah. If it's over 3 days, you'll definitely go through this. Yeah. The next one is the mental restlessness, and it can be experienced in 3 ways. First one, we come from busy lives, so we'll come in our mind will be really buzzing. Sometimes the thinking is going so fast, 100 miles an hour, you can't observe the thinking like I've advised you to do, can you? You know what I mean? Your thoughts are just going 100 miles an hour everywhere, and you're just sitting there. It's just like, and mind's jumping around to sounds, and it just won't sit still. When this happens, ground your awareness in your body. Don't try to follow the crazy thinking. Ground your awareness in your body, and then just be aware of the mind running all over the place and allow it to run. Like you allow a wild horse to run around a paddock, but you can just sit there and watch it. And you can just use labels like crazy, thinking, insane, unpleasant, whatever works for you. Just describe your experience of it and sit there. The anchoring in your body will stop you from getting lost in the whole story. If you don't have that anchor, chances are it will suck you in, and before you know it, 15 minutes later, I've been thinking, and then boom, off again, and then I've been thinking, and then boom. It can be really crazy like that. If you anchor and just aware of it, and just label it like that, but label it gently, because you don't want to create more energy, what will happen, eventually the energy will run out, it will get tired and rest. Like allowing a child to get tired in a playground. You don't run around with it, allow it just to run around and you just watch it. Yeah, that's how you handle that one. And that can be really hard. The next one is mental aversion. The restlessness that comes from aversion. Say we're sitting in the room. Generally in the morning it's a lot noisier here. You're sitting in the room and then these sounds keep happening. You've got the speed humps on the roof, boom, 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 boom. And then you've got people walking up and down the hall, with screaming children and stuff, and you're trying to meditate and your mind keeps going out, and you get into this wrestling match with all the noise. When you get with that, place your attention on the distraction and then notice your relationship to it. If you don't like the sound, not liking. See what it feels like not to like it. Watch how you start to create conversations about people walking up and down the hall. This is mental aversion. And as long as your mind's averse and attacking things all the time, it won't stay with the meditation object. And you won't be able to build up your mindfulness. But if you just watch it, and in particular during this one, watch your relationship to whatever's happening. This might be pain in your knee. It could be anything. It could be a meditator who's restless a lot or something like that. You'll find you'll get into this wrestling match in your head with it, commenting on it. Just observe that whole thing. Anchor your awareness in your body again. Observe it and just label it however you're experiencing it. And then what you'll find is the mind will start to settle when you do that, when you don't participate in it. The last way that we experience mental restlessness, right, is through... Actually, I missed the obsessive thinking. That's more like the obsessive thinking. But I did give the right thing. Yeah, we could call that obsessive thinking, what I'm talking about here. I guess, again, it's the commenting on whatever it is. Look at the emotional charge behind the thought. So it might be arguing. You might be arguing in your head, debating. You might be longing for something. You might be judging. Yeah? Whatever it is. You might be fantasizing. So you just label it fantasizing, arguing, judging. Yeah? Whatever it is. Discussing, deciding, planning. Whatever the emotional charge is behind that, it's a very similar thing. And you do that, but you're interested in the charge behind it, you're not interested in the content of the thinking itself. So that is tied in with that sound one, the similar sort of thing. The last one, I'll just wind it up now, so I'm not talking for too long, as I do. The last one is when you put in too much effort. Meditation is not about effort. It's about learning how not to make effort. It's about learning to use minimum effort. If we put effort into meditation, if we're trying too hard, we create too much mental energy, and no matter how hard you try, you'll be restless. Yeah? So like in that first practice that we did, meditation is about softening into your meditation object, relaxing into it. Remember, we're heading towards stillness, we're not heading towards movement. So to head towards stillness, you've got to learn how to not do, not learn how to do. The mind's natural state is still, clear, calm. We don't make it that way. It naturally goes like that when we step out of the way. While we're playing with the world in our head, the mind will always be turning out and restless. When we give up playing with the world, the mind naturally returns back to its natural state. And its natural state is still, clear and calm. So when you're meditating, you're not doing, you're actually learning how not to do. That's the trick. Yeah? So in this one here, just observe your desire to control and to do during the practice. Yeah. So what we'll do now is we'll do a meditation practice and we'll use that labelling technique. Does anyone need a stretch before we start? Said that just for you. Okay. So you just want to close your eyes ever lightly. Just bring your awareness into your body and just feel your body sitting on the chair or on the floor. Just being aware of all the sensations in your body. Now just gently use a mental label silently to yourself to point your attention to your body. Just gently say sitting, sitting, sitting. As you hold your attention on the feeling of your body, you may start to notice the movement from the breathing around the area of your abdomen. As you breathe in, your stomach expands. As you breathe out, it falls. Watching these sensations so you can feel the breathing happening in your abdomen. Point your attention to the movement by using simple labels. As the breath comes in, say rising, rising. As the breath comes out, say falling, falling with each movement. Keep following the movement of the breathing in the abdomen, using rising and falling as labels. When your attention wanders off, say to thinking, notice where it's wandered and just say thinking, thinking. If you find the thought is planning, it's planning, planning, or arguing, arguing, longing, longing. Whatever it is, label it. When the thought dissolves, come back to the breathing. If your attention goes out to a sound, it's hearing, hearing. If your body feeling warm, warm, warm. If your body's itching, itching, itching. Whatever your experience is, whatever draws your attention away from the breathing, just label it. When it no longer pulls your attention, go back to the rising and falling movement. Now bring your awareness back into your body, but don't allow your attention to come out just yet. Start being aware of any sounds around you. Notice if you place your attention on the sound, you can use it as an object of mindfulness. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Be aware of seeing. Be aware of being in the room. So since through using any distraction or anything that comes up as your object of meditation, instead of trying to push it away, then suddenly, once you learn that skill, there is no such thing as distraction during meditation. You can meditate anywhere. Then you only have two things. You have attention and inattention. You're either mindful or you're not mindful. Mindfulness isn't concerned with having a particular object. Our mindfulness can be built up on anything, any experience. And it doesn't matter what that experience is. It doesn't matter what's happening in our life or what we're experiencing right now. We can be mindful of it. And the mindfulness will grow as long as you're turning your attention towards whatever it is instead of trying to run away from it. As soon as you do that, the mindfulness will separate you from it. There'll be whatever you're experiencing and the knowing of it. In that, you'll be protected from that experience. And you'll get to know it very, very well. When you get to know it enough, if it's a painful experience, instead of trying to run away from it, your mind will automatically start to become, through knowledge, disenchanted with it. In the same way, the toys that enchanted you as a child no longer enchant you as an adult. Yeah? We become enchanted with other things, don't we? In the same way, when we get to know what's really going on clearly, we just become disenchanted with it. So it's not like we try to get rid of it. We just have as much interest in it as we do in our favourite toy when we were 2 or 3 years old. The one that would scream and shout and chuck tantrums if we couldn't have it at the dinner table because it enchanted us. So as adults we become enchanted with other things, but quite often we become enchanted with things that cause us pain. We become enchanted with our own suffering, our own pain, our own mental anguish, and then we hang on to it. We practice it, we think about it, and we speak about it as often as we can. Try to make it as strong as we possibly can. So the way to get through that isn't to try to push it away. It isn't to think about it, it's to observe it and understand it protected through by mindfulness, the mind will automatically let go by itself. And then when the mind does that, it automatically returns closer to that stillness and peace. And the more it lets go, the more it becomes disenchanted with, the deeper that stillness and peace becomes. And that's not just sitting on a meditation cushion, that's in everyday life. That's all the time. That's the difference between suppressing through concentration, right? Or reaching the stillness through understanding and wisdom. Yeah. This meditation technique that we did tonight, the video of the instructions for this is on the Meditation the Shire website at the moment. It's under meditation class videos. Actually, I should transfer it with the other instructional videos too on how to do meditation. But it's under meditation class videos. You'll see it up the top, there's a link. Click on that. Class is 2015 and it was class number 17, I think, or video number 17. Or if you go to the Meditation the Shire Facebook page, there's a direct link there. If you scroll down a bit, there's a direct link to that page. And so you can get the instructions if you missed them last week. Very, very good technique. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming out. I don't know about you, but we're going to go back to our cold house. I really enjoy these heated rooms here. Okay, take care of yourselves. Have a lovely week. Remember, if you've got any questions, you can submit them through the website. There's an email address there, and there's a question and answers section, all questions people from all over the world have asked. I've actually got them posted on the website now and adding them. And if you ask a question, I'm not going to put your name and address there. I usually just use people's first names, or if they don't want anyone to know, then anonymous. I just write that next to it. The idea is it gets to share, and quite often people have the same questions, so they can actually access that. So check that out as well. Okay, take care and have a lovely week. Okay, goodbye. Thank you.